So it seems you guys like the idea of high humidity fragrances. Fragrances you can wear when it's hot and humid outside. You guys have been sending me countless messages, leaving comments, asking me to do a video on fragrances you can wear in high humidity. And even though last year I did a video version like this, you can go catch it, where I actually selected the fragrances I like to wear in high humidity, and I didn't necessarily select all fresh fragrances, as I don't have a problem wearing warmer, deeper, richer fragrances in the heat, because they do come alive in the heat. In this video though, I'm selecting only fresh fragrances that are perfect to wear in high humidity. And I spent a lot of time in high humidity in June, so I know exactly the kind of fragrances that bloom in the heat. So I've got a top 20 list today. Find out what they are coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, we're talking about high humidity fragrances. Fragrances you can wear in high humidity. The ones that are perfect to wear in high humidity. All fresh fragrances. I know you guys mostly tend to have rules about what kind of fragrances to wear in which seasons. As I was saying, I don't, and some of you don't either, but most of you tend to want to wear fresh fragrances when it's really hot outside, and that's exactly what these fragrances are. Mostly very, very fresh and perfect in the heat. So why don't we go ahead and get started. At number 20, we're going to the house of PENHALIGON'S. It's BLENHEIM Bouquet, this one right here. So this is a perfect, very tart, astringent kind of a fragrance, which is perfect in the heat. It wears perfectly in the heat. It blooms and opens up with its citrusy touches, and then also its spices and also some green, woody, accents as well. There's a little bit of an aromatic touch in here with lavender, but it's all lemons and lime with pine and black pepper. Perfect fragrance in the humidity. This is the kind of fragrance I like to wear. It's uber fresh, uber tart, and I like those in the heat. But it's not all about uber tart fragrances today. We're going to the house of INITIO Parfums next at number 19. It's Musk Therapy. This is great in the high humidity because it has this lasting power, and it's a clean, almost laundry-like white musk experience. It's not a dirty musk. It's definitely a clean laundry-like white musk with white musk, black currant, bergamot, mandarin orange, white sandalwood, magnolia, Haitian. So it's very fresh. It's got some woods, very soft, creamy woods, and lots of citruses, and of course the fruits and the musk. It's really beautiful to wear in the heat, in the high humidity. It's Musk Therapy from INITIO Parfums, a great scent. Another citrus, we're going to a floral experience next. It's Commodities Nectar, this one right here. This is so good in the heat. It opens up and blooms really perfectly. This to me smells like Jo Malone's Orange Blossom with juicy, zingy, a little bitter grapefruit kind of an experience. It's lots of Neroli here with Honeysuckle. There's Pomelo, Italian Tangerine, Orange Blossom, Musk, and Bergamot. It's so delicious. It wears beautifully in the heat. Summer heat, humidity, this is perfect. It's Nectar from Commodity. Wonderful fragrance. This next fragrance, going to the house of JOVOY. It's 21 Conduit Street. This is a great fragrance experience because it's got lots of Ambroxan, and it's got this grapefruit note, and then also there's a rhubarb for kind of a fruity vegetal experience. But there's also lots of fir balsam here. There's Ambroxan, there's almonds, lavender, tonka beans, and bergamot. This is a little more complex, but mostly it's very fresh and musky, a little ambery because of the Ambroxan note. So there's woody, dusty experiences in here as well. It's perfect in the heat. So it's 21 Conduit Street from JOVOY at number 17. And then at number 16, going to the house of DS and DURGA for more of a minimalistic experience. I don't know what. The first time I wore this was in heat, and it was humid, and the fragrance really came alive. But the very first time I sampled it really didn't do anything for me because I sampled it at Barney's, and it was cool outside. This fragrance does not do much in the cold. It's perfect in the heat. It blooms and opens up and becomes musky and very, very sexy. To me, this is kind of like an eccentric molecules like fragrance, but with a little more complexity. And as I said, it needs heat to really bloom up and to bloom and to smell. Otherwise, it's very minimalistic. You can hardly smell it, and you can be anosmic to it. But this is a gorgeous fragrance. It's mostly a primer, so you boost other fragrances with it, but on its own, it wears just so beautifully. It features ISOE Super, Bergamot, Vetiver, Acetate, Ambroxan, and Civitone. So there's a little bit of an animalic experience, but it's not big. It's just a really beautiful fragrance. It's I Don't Know What from the house of DS and Durga at number 16. Next up, another fragrance that's perfect in the heat, the humidity, high humidity fragrance. It's Goldfield and Banks's Bohemian Lime. This is a delicious citrusy experience with some spices and some kind of floral touches thrown in there as well. And for me, this smells like a Moscow Mule cocktail does, because there's a cold, crispy, crisp, but fresh experience about it. And it features the notes of Australian finger lime with coriander. There's vetiver, there's cedarwood and sandalwood. The experience is gorgeous. It's fresh, perfect in the heat and high humidity. Bohemian Lime at number 15. And then we are going to a molecule fragrance from the house of Eccentric Molecules. This is Molecule 1 plus Mandarin Orange. This should be this way. This is also really, really great. This is a little more minimalistic than the I Don't Know What, but they're kind of sort of close because this has the ISOE Super, which Molecule 1 is known for. But they've added the Mandarin here for that kind of sweet, citrusy experience. It's a beautiful combo. Match made in heaven. Perfectly musky, woody, ambery experience here with the ISOE Super plus that Mandarin Orange to add the kind of citrusy touch. Really gorgeous to wear in the heat. And this is, again, minimalistic, but it's perfect. It blooms in the heat with its kind of, you know, musks and woods and ambery experiences along with the citrus here. So Molecule 1 plus Mandarin is gorgeous in the heat of the summer. Moving on to the house of the Harmonist, it's Yin Transformation. Somebody recently commented and said this is soapy. I could see this. This can get very soapy because it's very, very clean and watery, and I can see why it would get soapy because there's notes in here that are kind of like have a soapiness about them. But it's a watery wearing experience, so there's a very watery, liquidy experience here. Along with the water note, you've got orchid, freesia, ylang-ylang, rose, white musk, lemon, and bergamot. What a wonderful fragrance this is. It also has a beefiness about it, even though it doesn't wear heavy, because it's got that watery experience. It's Yin Transformation, the Harmonist. Great fragrance. Check that out if you don't know it. Next, it's Mancera's Intense Cedrat Boisé. You can also go with the original. I'm going with something a little more complex here because they actually have a leather and kind of an oudi experience in this particular version in comparison to the original. Although the original has the leather as well, not the oud. And then in here, there's warm spices, and then there's kind of fresh spices in the original. But a great smell. You can still smell the kind of Cedrat Boisé-like experience because it's basically similar to me. And then it has that reminder of Aventus, of course. But it's lots of citruses with black currant, the warm spices, leather, oud, white musk, oak moss, ambergris, jasmine, and sandalwood. Perfectly fresh, great smelling fragrance. It's Intense Cedrat Boisé from the house of Mancera. Check it out. And as I said, you can totally get away with the original as well. I think it's perfect in the high humidity. Next up, going to the house of Electimus London. It's Trajan or Trahan, this one right here. And this is kind of like a Baccarat Rouge-like experience with lots of citruses. So if you like the smell of Baccarat Rouge, but you want a citrusy alternative, you definitely must check this one. It's a really, really great smelling fragrance, and it wears perfectly in the heat of the summer. Saffron, blood orange, ambergris, mandarin orange, lavender, sage, oak moss, cedar, lemons, and bergamot. Lots and lots of citruses here. Of course, there's spices and aromatics as well. And then, of course, the ambergris, which to me, I think it's Ambroxan because it smells like it. Anyway, Electimus London, Trajan or Trahan at number 11. Next up, going to the house of Bulgari, it's Tigar, this one right here. This is super, super, super sexy. Really smells great. It is a male targeted release. I think this one can totally be pulled off by women as well. It's mostly about this zingy, spicy grapefruit note, very juicy, citrusy, fresh with Ambroxan and woods. Ambroxan has that kind of muskiness, that kind of ambergris-like quality, but more woody and ambery, and a little bit of an aquatic marine experience here all rolled into one. So you not only have the grapefruit, but all those accords I mentioned with the Ambroxan and woods. It's a great fragrance to wear in the heat and high humidity, and it has a great musky, you know, citrusy trail. So it's Bulgari Tigar at number 10. Moving on to the house of Carthusia. It's Amare, this one right here. I keep recommending this particular fragrance because it smells really, really great. It's a great marine fragrance for the summertime. And I did wear this in the heat of the summer quite a bit in Italy, and it smelled fantastic on me because the heat, with my body heat, it just amplified the smell so much, and it really did wear perfectly. So Amare has notes of watery notes, they say, but to me, I'm getting the marine touches, along with salt, mint, rosemary, bergamot, cedar, gaiac wood, musk, and patchouli. What a great great fragrance this is, with the most gorgeous bottle, as you can see here. So it's Amare from the house of Cartusia. Check that out if you don't know it. And then this next one I also wore in the heat of the summer. Well, in the humidity where I was in France and Italy. This is Lumari's Porthole. I keep recommending this one as well. I have total experience with this one. This one to me is very salty, and the last one was salty as well, but this one actually, it's contrasted against fruits, so the salt kind of stands out and tones down the fruits, if that makes sense. What we have in Lumari's Porthole is pineapple, bergamot, salt, ginger, passion fruit, white flowers, caramel, white musk, and wood. So it has a kind of a light, sweet, dry down with woods and musk, but there's that fruitiness up top, the pineapple, the passion fruit, and that salt adds kind of a marine experience, but not necessarily marine, because this is not a marine fragrance to me. It's more salty, but I think the salt might be associated with marineness, or having a marine type of a association, but a really great fragrance. This one also really blooms in the heat and humidity. It's Lumari's Porthole, wonderful fragrance, really love that one. If you don't know it, check it out. Next, it's Mise en Cire Blue Gin, very cooling, crisp fragrance experience with loads and loads of juniper berry, lots of it. It's very crisp, sharp, metallic, ice cold. Just imagine ice cold, and you want those kind of fragrances in the heat, don't you, in the humidity? So it's juniper berry, mandarin orange, Sichuan pepper, black pepper, cascalone, which is fresh and aquatic, iron, and cetalox, which is like ambroxan. A great smell. Check it out. It's very, very cooling. Mise en Cire Blue Gin at number 7. Next, going to the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is Un Air de Bretagne, this one right here. This is also really, really great. So to me, Amare has some sort of similarities to L'Artisan Parfumeur's Un Air de Bretagne. But for me, the Un Air de Bretagne also has this freshness, even further freshness in comparison to the Amare, because it has a lemony, citrusy experience and loads of it. So it's like almost like there's a lemon grove, a big lemon grove with fragrant lemons, very, very fragrant lemons growing along the sea, the coast. You're getting the breeze, you're getting the juicy, very tart, sour kind of lemony experience. Although this is not a very tart sour, I'm just saying that there's a kind of a tart sourness associated with lemons in general. But there's also the saltiness and also very, very beautiful kind of muskiness as well. Really a great smell. It's L'Artisan Parfumeur's Un Air de Bretagne. It's perfect in the heat, in the high humidity. So that's at number 6. Alright, moving to number 5, we're going to the house of Profumum Roma. It's Orangea. Orangea is so good. So, so yummy. So somebody was asking me why I didn't feature this in the orange fragrances video. You know, I used to feature this in orange fragrances video, but there's no orange mentioned in the notes. Even though it's called Orangea, they're going with the Petitgrain, which is coming off of the bitter orange tree. Petitgrain is the leaves, so this is a very green, bitter, orange, leafy experience. Along with bergamot, cedar, and mint. Fantastic. I wore this when I first bought it in Rome in the summer. Hot. This is really, really great. There's definitely a creamy, almost beachy-like undertone here as well that I love. Anyway, Orangea at number 5. It's perfect in the high humidity. Next, going to the house of Nishane. It's Hachivat. Gotta include this. This one definitely works great in the heat. Really crisp, sharp, almost like the blue gin from Mise en Cire, but this one has fruitiness, whereas the other doesn't. The fruitiness comes from pineapple here. There's also loads of grapefruit with bergamot and oak moss and patchouli. Wonderful fragrance. It's Nishane's Hachivat, and it's perfect, perfect in the heat, the high humidity. Moving on to the house of Le Labo, it's Bergamot 22. This is also great, but I love this one. It's just a beautiful, beautiful smell. Really one of the best bergamot fragrances because you've got this juicy floral experience of bergamot, whereas I always say bergamot already has a floralcy, but they've added flowers in here as well. They've added orange blossom, and the bergamot and orange blossom together is a match made in heaven here. It's just really, really juicy experience. Along with those notes, you've got vetiver, you've got grapefruit, petitgrain, and musk. Intoxicatingly delicious. It's Le Labo's Bergamot 22, perfect in the heat. Moving on to the house of Xerjoff, Torino 21. I wore plenty of this in the heat. I actually took a mini bottle of this with me to Europe when I was there, and I wore all of it, and it smells really, really great. For me, on me, it smells like tea, like mint tea. I don't know, mint lemon tea kind of a thing, because there's both mint and lemon in here. There's no mention of tea, but it wore like tea on me, like just a combination of mint and lemons together. It's a really great fresh wearing experience. To me, this is also much better than the Renaissance, which used to be a really great fragrance, but once I smelled this, man, I love this fragrance. It smells so fantastic. It's mint, verbena, musk, lemon, basil, black currant, lavender, thyme, and jasmine. So it's basically lots of aromatics and also citruses. Perfect. Great fragrance. It's Xerjoff's Torino 21 at number 2. And this next one, at number 1, it's Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Silver. Perfect high humidity fragrance. Once again, very crisp, sharp, metallic, fresh, ice cold, all those come to mind, with juniper berries, lots of woods, musk, coriander, nutmeg, amber woods, and vanilla. Yum. This is perfect. If you like it ice cold, when it's really hot and humid, high humidity weather out there, try Gentle Fluidity Silver from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Anyway guys, that's all I have for you today. High humidity fragrances, a top 20. There's probably a lot more out there. This is what I decided to go with on this video. But what do you like to wear in high humidity? And do you like these particular fragrances? Do let me know. Put a comment down. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. And of course, you love the bonuses. I'm going to recommend 2 fragrances for you, bonuses for you. I'm going to start off with Annick Goutal's Eau d'Adrienne in the EDP concentration. So this used to be a brand called, well, Annick Goutal. It is now called Goutal Paris is what I should say. So the first time I wore this was in the hot and humid summer in New York City, way back in 1999. That's when I first discovered it, although my dad used to wear it a long time ago, but that's where I bought it because I wore it in that heat. And this is really great. It's a tart, juicy, sour, astringent, kind of a lemony experience with a few different kinds of lemons here. There's citron and lemons, but there's also cypress, there's grapefruit, there's mandarin orange, and aldehydes. Really perfect in the heat and high humidity. And if you want something a little more potent, you can go with Aqua Viva. Basically, they smell sort of similar ideas, very tart, citrusy, sour, astringent, lemony notes, but with this one you've got cypress, cedar, and laburnum. Really great fragrances and perfect in high humidity. I'm putting them together as a bonus fragrance. Wear them separately or together, whatever you want to do, but if you like it juicy, citrusy, tart, and sour, try both of these or one or the other. Anyway guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for another video tomorrow. Bye.